Hi, I'm Nencepreet and आज हम बुक रिव्यू करेंगे प्रियंका चोपड़ा जोनस की अनफिनिश्ड नई बुक का. This book is a memoir up until now of Priyanka Chopra Jonas's journey in life, how she makes us relive through relatable accounts of her childhood, of her teens, of her pageants, and of course of her, Shadi with Nick Jonas and how she fell in love with him. So if I just have a look at this book, it makes me, see how she turned all her trials and tribulations into triumph. And this is the inspiration that we draw from this book. And if I talk about the highlights of this book, it would definitely be the beautiful, equally powered parenting that she had of both her parents, her father and her mother. So now, in the beginning, she shows how she has been an army brat, travels a lot with her parents, and then how she transitions, she's put into a hostel and she makes us feel all the feelings, all the emotions that she goes through during a separation, during the, anxious moment of staying away from her parents, how she is not accustomed to a life of a hostel in the beginning, and then how she starts to thrive in a situation like that. And then she takes us to all the quirky encounters that she has as her teens when her mother sends her to the US to study with her Kiran Masi and Vimal Mamu, and it's a beautiful way how, it is very relatable because how extended families come forth to help and support in collective, bringing up of children in Indian families, and that's beautifully portrayed. And I was especially impressed by the fact how this family supported the women in the family to progress in their careers, and they said, the parenting we'll do collectively. So that was the most beautiful part, and she depicted it very well. And this is a journey of her life which is concatenated between two cultures, dono cultures, Indian and American cultures ke baare mein she has spoken very beautifully, and she tells how she, lives her life in US, how she adjusts, and how she has those quirky details, has a boyfriend and has escapades. All of that is mentioned very nicely in this book, and it's an interesting part. She also covers bullying, and the most interesting part about this is that bullying is not necessarily race dependent. She was bullied not just by Caucasians, she was also bullied by those who were of color. So, how bullying can affect you in such a negative way that her confidence started corroding. But then the most beautiful part, as I had mentioned earlier, was how good parenting can help children come out of any situation, any bad situation, however bad it can be. So for her, that was a depressive situation. For her, that was an extreme low. But how her family, instead of saying, I told you so, how her family strategizes with her and logically brings her out of any difficulty. They all sit together, strategize, and that's the most beautiful part of it. So when she faced bullying and when she said she'd had enough, her mother was supportive. She said, you come back to us. When she came to India, again she had to adjust to, the Indian norms and culture, and she brings out a beautiful depiction of how Indian culture is actually permeated in the thought of, white supremacy, where they feel that fairer skin color tone is the best, and she is called Kali by her own relatives, even though lovingly so, but that permeates into your subconscious, and she touches that issue beautifully here. And the most inspirational line throughout the book, which I would say, is when she says, if I have to be an anomaly, I better be the shiniest anomaly around. So that's what she uses. She uses to her own benefit. She starts making being different as her superpower. So that's when her journey actually starts towards success. So basically, that's going to be the biggest takeaway from this book, is that whatever you think is your weakness, you can turn it into your strength. And that's what she did. She felt that she was different while in the US. She felt that she was different. Her beauty was different while in India. How she turns that being different to her advantage is the most beautiful part to read in the book. So I'm not going to reveal too much. And then after this, she describes how she goes through winning those 2 pageants, and very nicely also acknowledges the blunder she did, or the kind of anxieties, the kind of emotions that she went through, and how she chose dresses, how her mother went with her, and then also how in the final pageant she made a big blunder in the final question. She acknowledges that. And then she makes you learn from the fact that you're all human at the end of it, and you need to accept your follies, yet you need to move further and make the most of all the negative points or all the weaknesses that you have. Then she talks about her journey in the tinsel town, in Bollywood. She touches upon the misogyny, the patriarchal right that we all have, the patriarchal right that people have in general in any industry, and also in Bollywood, where she has been subjected to misogynical remarks, indiscipline by Bollywood actors. Even though she doesn't go very deep or name names, she does touch upon a lot of insider outsider theory that's happening in Bollywood. Apart from that, she also covers very nicely her journey, not only through Bollywood, but also the controversies that she faced. So how she it is not necessarily delving too deep into the controversies, but वो बताती है कि yes, ऐसे मुझे लगा, मुझे ऐसा feel हुआ जब ये controversy हुई, So we get an insider's view of how an actor or an actress feels when they are embroiled within a controversy. So she does give her actual account of what happened during the armpit gate controversy, or during her plastic gate, the nose job controversy. So all of that she brushes through and tells us कि मुझे कैसा लगा, how I felt, and emotionally how distraught she was with those controversies, and she tries to give her own account of what had actually happened. After this, she also describes her fleeting music career, and it's a beautiful account of how her journey as a person also progresses, how her father gives her beautiful examples how to lead life, how her mother is always by her side. So that's a very beautiful account to take away from. And then Priyanka Chopra Jonas doesn't delve too much into her personal life. She says that she experienced a lot of grief, which is understandable when she was seeing her father decline, and then how she lost her father, and then she also had some personal losses along the way, and how she was depressed, but then how she was taken out of it, and how she breezily fell in love with Nick Jonas. And the most intriguing and interesting part is the description of the shadi that took place, and she gives us intricate details about the planning and how they made the entire marriage very interesting, with their relatives coming from all over the world and what all they did. So that was a very interesting part for sure. And on the whole, I would say this book was an interesting read, and if you are especially a Priyanka Chopra Jonas fan, you would love it to get an insight of how she reached up until now, her journey. But yes, if you were looking into juicy bear-it-alls and greater details into what all happened in the controversies or personal details, well, you will be left wanting in that field. So having said all of that I've said, I think this is definitely an interesting read. You'll enjoy it. Thank you. Bye-bye.